Welcome everybody. This is Current World Issues Semester 1 study session. My name is Mrs. Gonzalez, and originally this was supposed to be recorded as a live study session on September 14th, but I was sick that day. So instead you're going to get the recorded version. Let's go ahead and get started. Our agenda for today, we're going to go over the final exam for the entire session, but the first part is going to be final exam study tips. Then we'll go ahead and do final exam practice questions, so questions that are actually on the final exam. So feel free to watch this video over and over again as many times as you'd like to prepare for the final exam in this class. You can also take notes. This can be part of your note taking. Final exam study tips. Let's go ahead and get started. There's a total of 30 questions on the Current World Issues Semester 1 final exam. And luckily, this is all multiple choice. There are no short questions, short answers, essays. In semester 2 there will be, but this is all multiple choice, so that should be a little bit of a relief to you. What is a passing grade? A passing grade for the final exam for your class as well. For all classes and final exams is 60%. So if you don't score at least 60%, you do have to retake the final exam. And we'll talk about that here shortly about retakes. The exam is worth 100 points. It is 10% of your overall grade. So this is really important for two reasons. The first reason is it doesn't put a huge dent if you're in good standing in the class already and you score 60%, you pass with 60%, there's a good chance that it's not going to change or affect your grade much. However, if you're a student that's on the cusp of, let's say, an A or a B, or a C or a D, or even a D and an F, then that 10% really does affect you, especially for anybody on the border between a D and an F. So keep that in mind. 10% isn't too big if you, it isn't too big of a percentage if you are doing well. If you're not doing well, it is a big deal. Can you use notes? Yes, we're going to go over that soon. You can use one full page, front side only, of notes. So let's go back to that question. What happens if I don't pass? Well, you can take the final exam in this class and in all of your classes more than one time. So you actually have 2 tries to pass the final. And after the second time, if you don't pass, your teacher is going to work with you to complete an alternate. We call it an alternative assessment. And what that means is your teacher's going to decide. They will let you know through chat messaging, through email, and of course through feedback messages in your assignments and in the final exam. They'll let you know what you need to do in order to pass the class and to make up for that failed final exam. So they could decide that maybe you just need to write a short essay about what you learned in the class, or maybe they just want you to redo 1 or 2 questions to help you pass. They will let you know for sure. If for some reason you have taken your final a second time, you failed, and your teacher has not contacted you, be proactive and reach out to them. Tell them, hey, I failed the final and second try. I really want to pass this class and get credit for it. Can you please let me know what I need to do for my alternate assessment? What are some of the rules and deadlines? So one of the biggest rules is that the final exam needs to be taken in one sitting. So you can't say, like, okay, I'm going to take half of it today and half of it tomorrow. You have to do it all at once, and there is a time limit of 90 minutes. That should be more than enough time. If for some reason you need more than 90 minutes, let's say you didn't have enough time to finish the first time and you have to retake it, let your teacher know. I'm sure they can work something out. It is timed within the system, so there's nothing we can really do to remove that timing mechanism. But let your teacher know. Talk to your local advocate, talk to your academic coach. But keep that in mind, 90 minutes. That should be more than enough. And where do you take the final exam and how do you take it? So if you have a local advocate, you have to take it at the meetup. If you do not have a local advocate, and you'll know who you are if you don't, contact your academic coach. Or if you're not even sure if you have a local advocate or how you're going to get your password, contact your academic coach. I have posted their number there. It's 855-945-5472. But all final exams do have a password, and the password is going to be entered by a local advocate. And again, if you don't have a local advocate, there is another way of getting that password, but you need to contact your academic coach. There is a 30-day expectation that you're going to complete your final exam, meaning that let's say you complete a class, you've done all the assignments, you turned in that last assignment. Well, you have 30 days following the completion of that last assignment to take the final exam. And that is, it's not really a rule that's made to deter you or to, punish you. It's made actually to help you stay on track and to take your final as soon as possible, because the more time, and this is proven in every class that of any student I've ever had in any class, the more time that you wait to take the final exam, the more difficult it's going to be, because you're not going to retain the information after a long period of time. It's going to be difficult to remember the information that you have just learned. So take that final exam as soon as you finish your class, and as soon as you have prepped for it. Don't take it blindly, but prepare for it and take it at your next meetup. There is a 3-month limit. So if for some reason something has happened, you cannot take the final exam within 3 months of submitting that last assignment in a class, you have to take the class over from the beginning. So keep that in mind, a 3-month limit. If you are not taking your final exam within 3 months of finishing the class, then something is going on where you are just not either paying attention or caring or whatever have you, but 3 months is a really long time to take a final exam, too long. And there is a final exam limit of 4 final exams, meaning that if you have 4 or more overdue final exams, your academic coach will put up what's called a gate on your account, and you won't be able to add any more classes until you've taken at least 1 final exam. And again, these are all things that are to benefit you, not to punish you, but to benefit you, and to make sure that you are taking your final exams. We know, we as adults, we are procrastinators as well, and you put things off that you really don't want to do or you don't like to do, and this is designed to help you out and to help you get motivated. If for some reason you can't access your final, or you have questions about these deadlines, passwords, etc., or the rules or anything at all about the final exam rules and deadlines, contact your coach as soon as possible. And again, I have posted the number there. So how to study. There is a study guide at the end of every single class, right before the final exam. It'll say, there's a folder, it says final exam, and it has the study guide. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at that. So this is going to look a little bit different from your view, but it's the same concept. And basically, I've gone into this final exam folder. It says final exam. So just because you click on it doesn't mean you're going to be taking the final exam right away. What it's going to do, it's going to open the contents of the folder, and there is a final exam study guide, and then there's the actual final exam. You know what? Let's click on final exam and see what that looks like. It goes over what a final exam is and what the rules are. And all you do is you click start, and then it's going to prompt you to enter a password. So your local advocate will have that password, or perhaps your academic coach has sent that to you. But if you have a meetup, you have to attend the meetup, and then your local advocate will enter that password. So that's essentially how you take the final exam in this class and in all classes. So if you click on the study guide, it tells you right here, Current World Issues Quarter 1 Final Exam Study Guide. As you prepare to take your final exam, be sure to look back over the activities and quizzes you took to see where you need to focus your review. The following learning objectives should guide you on what you need to know to pass the final exam. So it has all of the possible topics that will be on the final exam. You can go ahead and read through this. I'm not going to go over every single one of these, but at least let's look at the first one. It says, evaluate the concept of regions and problems involved in defining those regions. So what are the 3 types of regions, and what are some examples of each type of region? This is where you start taking notes, and that's what I want to focus on right now, is on how to take notes. So let's take a look at what you can do. So let's say that you are on, let's see here, you're on the final exam study guide. So what you're going to do, what you want to do to take notes, is you want to copy and paste the questions onto a Word document. So you can right click and you can just go copy, and you can put them onto a Word document. So I've already done that ahead of time. And what I did was I copied and pasted those questions onto a Word document, and then I went ahead and I looked for the answers. So the first question was evaluate the concept of regions and problems involved in defining those regions. And what are the 3 different types of regions? What are some examples of each type of region? So what I did was I went back first and I looked through the units. Okay, where does it talk about regions and problems defined in defining those regions and the types of regions? So again, this is going to look a little bit different for you, but you're going to understand, okay, if I go to Unit 1, okay, look, it talks about defining regions, so I know where to look for those answers. So I go through Unit 1, I look at the topics, defining regions, look at that. Oh, look, defining region, it tells me what a perceptual region, what a functional region is, what a formal region is. So I can go back to my notes, and I can say, okay, this information is found in Unit 1. And then you can start taking notes. All I did was copied and pasted. There are many different types of regions, but there are 3 main categories: perceptual, functional, and formal regions. And all I did was I copied and pasted the definitions. Perceptual regions are based on people's ideas or beliefs about particular areas. Now, if you don't know what that means, if you don't understand it, then you're going to have to go back to the lesson and you're going to have to read about examples and a little bit more in depth about what a perceptual region is. But you get the drift. This is where it's located, this is where the information is located, and you can just copy and paste your information onto your notes page. And I put on here what you should be reviewing. You should be reviewing for this particular question, what are the 3 different types of regions? You should be reviewing the Unit 1 introduction, cultural differences and conflict, lesson 1, and you should review activity 1.1.1. So this I put here to help you out and so that you know where to look for the answers. So again, you can just take a look at the note-taking example that I had. I copied and pasted, and then I can use this on the final exam. So long as I keep it under 1 page, handwritten, then it's fine. And actually, I have no problem with you doing typed up notes, so that's fine. Okay, so there's another question, or another topic. It says summarize how the geography of globalization affects local diversity. And the question is, who are the Kurds and how have they struggled? And I know from reviewing, from going back and looking, that this is lesson 1.2, political borders, the Kurdish struggles, and activity 1.2.1. So make sure to review those and go into it and find out who the Kurds are. And again, you can copy and paste. You can copy and paste who the Kurds are, where they live, and what some of their struggles have been. All right, then you're going to describe how individuals and movements have shaped contemporary world issues. So, in particular, focus on what influences did Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King have on their people and on others. I have provided for you what you should be reviewing. So you can watch this video, pause it, and go, oh, okay, she told me to review, Unit 2 and these particular lessons and activities. So you would go into those lessons and you would copy and paste your information into this document. And then a second question within this section asks, what are some of the reasons for revolution? What was the American Revolution and what were the results? So go ahead and make sure you review, make sure you know where to find the information. So review the lessons, review the units, look at them, see what the titles are, see what the topics are. So Unit 2 talks about, oh, okay, look, there's Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi. Unit 3, okay, this talks about revolutions, and maybe somewhere in here is information about the revolution in the United States. So make sure that you read through these, and you can skim through them. You can just look for key terms. And oh, okay, look, this one talks about the American Revolution. So that is how you look for the correct units and for answers for these topics and for the question topics. So just kind of scrolling through to show you, again, there's topics and then there's questions that you should be able to answer. Make sure that you